And there we are.
And here we are. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
How have you been
And
doing?
hello to everyone out there.
Yes, yes. Welcome again.
Welcome. And thank you for just let us just have a moment of gratitude for all of us being together at this time.
Mm,
Just a quick moment.
mhm. And that time being whenever anyone is watching this, which is
Which of
nice.
course is all the now.
Exactly. Let's just dive right into that.
Because of course, as we've mentioned many times before, there is no uh, future, there's no past. The past is a story that we invented, yes, experienced, yes, but it's the past.
Mhm.
And the future is what we are choosing with what we choose now. So it's not even here yet. And all we really have is now, in this moment. And each and every moment is this moment. And this is all we have. And it's all past, future, now. It's all the same.
Very cool. Yeah, and that can line up with something that you're wanting to bring up around the Lionsgate portal.
The Lionsgate portal continues to be a huge energy. I believe most of you are probably still feeling it. It's not something that happens on one day. It is the lining up of the sun, Sirius, and Earth, and it lasts for 2 weeks on either side of August 8th. So it's 888. And how they get that, even though it's not the year doesn't add up to 8 this year. It's if you were to put circles like all of us have in our field, we have the field that goes around in the Taurus. Okay, now you put a field like that around each of these, the sun, Sirius, and the earth, and you get eights and more eights and more eights. So if you take the sun and Sirius, Sirius and the earth, and then you take the sun through Sirius around the earth and back to the sun, you got 888. No matter what year it is, it's still 888. And if you've been watching this very long, you know I have a real affinity for the number 8.
Yeah.
And so to me, this is just the highlight. And this particular time, I'm feeling the energy in a physical form, based basically around the house, getting the things done that we haven't been able to get done for so long, and just really having immense energy to get what, like we talked about on the last episode, the energy to get the outside of your house, in this case your body, your living space, everything, spruced up so that you can receive all of this wonderful energy that's coming in
Mm.
and continues to come in and will continue even after Lionsgate to come in.
Mhm.
And it's really about the abundance of this energy, which is just huge for creating whatever it is that you choose to create, and to be able to use this time to do whatever that is that you need to do to be able to create this and allow it to come in and receive it. And to me, that's just huge.
Mhm.
And it's not over yet. And it's going to continue. I mean, yes, this is the time when the energy is strongest, but it continues afterward. And we put things in motion and then we let them go, knowing that as it's put out to the universe, what we need most is going to come back to us. And so
And
we just put in the order now
yeah.
and do what we can to make sure the order is correct and have, as good as possible. And then we allow it to come.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
where we're at.
Beautifully so. And I think the year does add up to 8 with the 2 and the 2 and the 4. So giving us the opportunity, whatever the really whatever the numbers are, it's really what we're feeling, right? And giving us the opportunity to expand. And that's the point of these things. Like you're saying, like cleaning the house and being aware and growing and being in these times. So it's a beautiful time, and you and I have talked earlier about how things are affecting us differently. And I'm very emotional. I feel the emotions. The I feel everything, and and then it becomes sort of physical, but you're feeling the physical stuff, like the more energy and things like that first. So yeah, it's fascinating being able to talk to each other about it.
And I could feel the energy of the emotions too. It's a bit of a roller coaster, and um, it bears keeping an eye on. Is this real? Is this not real? Is this mine? Is this not mine?
Yeah.
And the one that has been coming out so strongly right now um, is it is not ours, each of ours individually, to save the world.
Yes.
And it's that's a huge message. You do what you are here to do. I do what I'm here to do, and we'll all get it done. But you are not responsible for everything. You were not born with a big red S on your chest. You do what is yours, and you don't worry about the rest of it. You know that what needs to be done will be done, and it moves right into choices that are being made in the world right now, because it's not affecting just us individually, but affecting the collective also. And for those of you who keep an eye on things at all, you may understand that in the mainland United States right now, they are about to make a gigantic choice, and it's not new. Earlier this year, it was made in France and the UK. It's been made and lived in for a while in Germany. I believe Canada is, they're not always successful, but they make it again and again and again. And Australia, they're in the process of making it too. And the process or the choice that is being made comes down to, very simply, there is the easy way to do everything, or the easier way to do everything. And there is the more painful, difficult way to do things. And we get to choose this over and over and over again, individually and collectively. I tend to prefer the easier way. It just feels so much better. That's not always the case. We humans have been used to the painful, more difficult way for eons now. And we're taught that that's normal and expected, and that's the only way. That's not the only way. We can choose the easier way, and the way that feels so much better.
Mm.
And that way actually comes down to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, freedom. The more we can free ourselves individually and live in the freedom of who we really are, and then we give that, of course, to the collective, which allows the collective to live in more freedom of who and what we are at this time, knowing that we are moving toward and creating something that's going to be so much better, and it's going to be free, and people are going to be able to live in that freedom. And that's what we're building now. These are the choices we're making. And as we make the choices that move us forward, we can consider, is this going to be the easier way, Or do we wish to do the harder, more painful, difficult way? And the choice is always ours.
Yes. I find when, even if something is easy, when it's new, people can have fear about that newness. Even if it looks tempting. And, our society tends to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations because that's what they know. And if you're like if you're watching this and you're feeling it, I encourage you to just sit in it. Be curious about what you're feeling. Be curious about making a change, making a new decision, whatever it's regarding, whether it's politics or something in the household or buying a new product, whatever it is. Sometimes fear comes up and we don't need to name these things, but it's almost like, oh, well, I'm feeling that and it's kind of cranky inside of me and I'm wondering why it's there, and maybe you'll get an answer, maybe you won't, but gifting yourself that opportunity. Like we talked about, time is a beautiful tool because now is now, then is now, before was now. It we can feel for the future, really, and follow that.
Lovely, very well said.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just it's tough. Like you're saying, when we're in the thick of what we know and all the emotions and maybe physical stuff and things like that, it doesn't necessarily seem easy, even though the opportunity gives you that easier road ahead. And yeah, just
And I'll just mention that once you get beyond that, the pain, the fear that it's going to be difficult, hard, whatever, um, and you make that choice that is the easier choice. Once you get to that point and get beyond that point, it's so freeing. I mean, I know, I understand how difficult it is. I've done it many, many times. And I truly love living in a much freer life where I know I'm the one making the choices. Yes, I'm responsible for those choices. And I like that. But I'm also the one who knows that I'm the one who made those choices.
mm,
I'm not putting my power or giving my power away to anything or anyone else. I'm me. I'm responsible for me. And that's extremely freeing.
mhm,
And it just feels so light.
mhm.
And when you get there, and some of you are already there, I know that, and you understand what we're saying, you're feeling that freedom. But when you get there, the freedom is amazing.
Yes, yes, and some people that I've helped get there, they say, "Oh, it's so uncomfortable. I don't know how it fits in, and my friends are changing, family's changing, and well, it's actually us that has taken that step into that freedom, and now we have to learn how to stay in it while others are still getting there, right? So, yeah,
And you go from being a participant to being a role model.
yeah,
And that's a jump.
yeah,
For both of us, that's a jump.
yes,
But then you're like, oh, well, if I did it, and I'm not really anything all that special, I don't have big red S on my chest either, then they can do it too. It's not impossible for any of us if we make the choice.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So this all within the Lions Gate portal, right? And then some.
Yes. the Lionsgate portal and beyond,
Yeah.
because this we could look at this in a larger sense, and this year and next year are like Lionsgate portal for the entire time, and maybe even beyond that. This is the time of the huge transformation and change in the entire world, which means in each of us and all of us. And even in the physical world, I see it around me all the time in the plants. I'm looking out my window right now at an orange tree that's ripening. Ripening in August? And it's just amazing. You continue to hear my stories of how the plants and the animals around here, I see it every day. And you can see it in other um, societies, the more indigenous societies. Their wisdom keepers will tell you all about how it's changing. Everything is changing, and it is changing. It has to. And if the world, if the planet, if Earth, Mother Earth is changing, guess what? You're part of it. You're going to change too.
Yeah.
And if you don't change, you're going to become part of the past.
Yes.
And that's a choice. And you
Yes.
can do that if you want.
Yep.
I'm just, to me, to be in this time and to know that I have chosen to be in this time, it's just fascinatingly amazing. It's just, it's so wonderful.
Mm.
And I wish for everyone else that they could see this too and feel it. And those of you who do, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm also finding it's not, obviously, it's not only within me, but raising a little one during this time, he's coming up with all sorts of things, and nervousness when he's unsure. And so up later or wakes up and gets us up or something like that. And his concerns are big. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what did we what did we read or what did we play or what did we watch that my mind's going 100 miles a minute as a conscious mom. Okay, well, where did this storyline come from? What has his little brain twisted or perceived in his own way to be this now? And um, last night it was harm coming to Dada and I, and he was concerned that something was going to happen. He had this intuition, he said. And so we talked to him and, you know, settled it, and we sat with him and we took him back into bed and cuddled and all this kind of stuff. And I did talk to him about feeling the world or feeling somebody else's stuff as opposed to feeling perhaps something of our own. So I taught him the dial thing. Okay, just think of, and I don't know how many houses have thermostats now with the old dial, but that's what I likened it to because grandma and granddad still have that. And so he he envisioned that, and I said, okay, so when you can ask the question, is this mine? Think about the dial first and turn it down just enough, and then ask yourself, is this mine or is this somebody's that I need to tell? And just be curious. And so he's old enough, 9, almost 10ish, that it sunk in, but I do that for myself. So finding the tools, right, that help us through these miraculous and bumpy times um, really can help and save energy when we get to sleep more.
And having the support, if you don't have the support, find the support wherever you can, wherever you need to.
Yeah,
Find the support because it is so important to have that. It's not possible for any of us to live in quote separation because
mm-hmm.
we never were separate and we
Mm-hmm.
never will be. And so that support, that togetherness, that just being part of the whole with other parts of the whole together is just, it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, you and your son are so brave to be here now doing what you're doing
Yeah.
at this time. It's just, you're so brave.
Well, thank you for saying that. I think we all are for being here. Like, really? This is when we decided to come. Okay, here we go.
Well, and especially Sky to come in at this time at that age. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
And to, I know that he knows, or he did, I think he knows now, but I pretty sure that he knew before he chose, before you, both of you chose to have him come in at this time, that they are the ones who are going to be changing and remaking the world.
Yes.
And wow, just
Yes.
wow.
I know. He and his friends have magical questions, and you're right. They ask, "Well, why is it done that way?" And there are people around to say, "Well, this is why," without being judgmental. And then the kids go, "Well, that seems silly." And with Scott, my husband and I have had conversations with Sky and some of his friends, and so they're already thinking on that level of, "Huh, well, that's not the easy way, right?" Or, "But that hurts the earth," or, all of these magical questions that
That's not fair for other people.
right, right, exactly. Well, why do they look at him that way? Or why do they treat her that way? Or why are they not allowed this? And I'm just, oh, I could be crying for for his whole upbringing if I really, because it's so heartwarming and yet devastating at the same time that it's still, these things are here and we're all growing up. Really. We're all still growing up.
Growing up in a very much larger, inclusive sense,
Yeah.
more like the entire world is moving from, and all of humanity, and maybe the earth too. I'm not sure about that one, but is moving from childhood to adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
We are now adults,
Mm-hmm.
in the universal sense of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for us to make adult choices, and choices on adult levels, not looking at it as children's toys or play. This is, you are an adult now. You are responsible. Not only that, though, you also have a lot of the freedoms that you didn't when you were a child. And this is a collective kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at all of us together as a single child, or what was a single child, which is now an adult. The single child, the single cells may not necessarily agree. A heart cell has a different purpose than a liver cell, than a blood cell, and they may have different ways of doing things, but they all have to work together as a whole. And that's where we're at now in the world. And this singular organism that we call people on Earth, and probably the Earth too, is now reaching its maturity.
Mm-hmm. I would love to just skip adulthood and go to elder stage, but that's just me.
All stages are necessary and have their
I know.
benefits and their drawbacks.
I know. I know. Yes. And it's beautiful what you said. Of course, we need to go through that stage and all the while bring the freedom and the imagination of our childhood too. I think there's beauty in all of that. You know, it would be it would be neat to see city council problems being solved by 8-year-olds as well as 80-year-olds. So that'd be cool.
And 8-year olds who have the minds of people who are much older. you know, and at the same time, the creativity and the newness, um, the freedom that they have as an 8-year old,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be neat.
and yet understand the responsibility of the 80-year old looking back saying,
Yeah. Yeah. Just like Mother Nature does to us sometimes. You know.
yeah. And if we don't listen to her when she says, the message gets a little stronger and a little stronger. And some of us, we kind of have to face it, like, have to get, like, this is just a metaphor, not a, we have to have them beat her over the head a few times before oh, oh yeah, I guess I should do something about that.
Right. It's like the spiritual teachings. It'll keep happening in your life until you go and until not you go until you stop and have a glimmer of a new perspective,
Or
right?
until you choose to allow that glimmer to be more than just a glimmer and say, hey, I'm going to do something about
Yeah,
this.
all of that for sure. Yeah. Oh, fun conversation today.
Yes.
Solving the world's problems.
And at the same time, not saving the world at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Being.
Being.
Hmm. Exactly as we need to in any given moment. Hmm.
And thank you for this today. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. As always, it's so fun to just talk so freely. Love to you and everyone that gets to listen.